Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, hooligan shields, SI, spasms, spazzles. I'm a useful idiot, and today I want to talk about the new NSA revelations. And isn't it interesting that we're getting to the point now where we're so saturated by leaks about NSA spying on the global scale that it's almost not even worth reporting anymore. We're so saturated. And that's one of the things that's interesting for me. I've already done a couple videos about how the NSA global scandal is becoming an NSA global comedy, because as it turns out, everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else. As it turns out, everybody's spying on everybody else, friend and foe alike. And this story continues in that vein. It turns out we have a top secret memo dated 2005 that reveals a proposed NSA procedure for spying on the citizens of the UK and all the other so-called Five Eyes nations, the United States, the UK, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada. And they have an agreement known as the Safe Harbor Agreement. And even where the partner government has explicitly denied the U.S. permission to do so, the United States and NSA spies on these other nations. The memo makes clear that partner countries must not be informed about this surveillance or even the procedure itself. So interesting how all these intelligence agencies globally are all working together, but also all stabbing each other in the back. And some parts of the government knowing about these programs, some not. And world leaders all being spied on by their own governments, their own intelligence agencies, all over the globe. So it's both high comedy and high tragedy. And the memo states that the Five Eyes Agreement has, quote, evolved to include a common understanding that both governments will not target each other's citizens, unquote. And so there we have it, where supposedly it's an understanding that there won't be any surveillance of each other's citizens. But, of course, the United States is ignoring that. I would assume that all those other countries are also ignoring it and using the surveillance as well. But the next sentence, classified as not to be shared with foreign partners, states, and that's right, you heard me right. So they have different copies of this agreement. One copy that's passed out to the allies, and it's missing this particular paragraph, and then the United States copy that has this paragraph in it, so that we have an understanding of what our spying and surveillance agreements are with these other countries. So, classified as not to be shared with foreign partners, states that, quote, governments reserve the right to conduct intelligence operations against each other's citizens when it is in the best interests of each nation, unquote. So too bad the other countries involved didn't know about this clause or are using it, but the NSA is. And it goes on to say, quote, therefore, under certain circumstances, it may be advisable and allowable to target second-party persons and second-party communication systems unilaterally when it is in the best interest of the U.S. and necessary for U.S. national security, unquote. So there's the proverbial national security clause used to justify just about everything, and here it is again being used to justify basically negating the terms of a agreement, an international agreement, within the document of the international agreement itself. Rather ironic in itself. And I wonder what the odds are that all the other Five Eyes countries have their own secret clauses in their own versions of this document. So anyway, and now it turns out the U.S. and UK intelligence have been data sharing on UK citizens. Okay, no big surprise there. And I assume there's a lot of information, because we know that the UK is one of the most surveilled societies on Earth. And then the latest one is that Korea and Singapore apparently were involved with Australia and the U.S. and the NSA spying on citizens all over the Asia-Pacific region. So once again, we have more nations involved in it. They're all spying on each other. We're spying on them. And we also found out from this latest NSA leak about Korea and Singapore that the NSA and the United States have tapped into 20 different locations of international undersea cables. And so that's one of the major systems they're using, is an international dragnet, just tapping into the undersea cable surveillance system supplied by that company Glimmerglass, which I also did a video on. So there we have it, the latest update. Now we find out that the Five Eyes countries have now found out that the walls have ears, and that there are no friends and foes in the world of intelligence and surveillance, and it's a comedy of errors, and spy versus spy, watching everyone spy on everyone else, everyone point the finger at everyone else, and one NSA scandal after another released in a cavalcade of tragedy and comedy. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.